Welcome back to another episode of Straight to the Point. It's been a while since I have done one of these, especially one of these solo episodes. I remember saying to you all the last time that you would have listened to something like this, whether it's on YouTube or on Apple or on Spotify, that I'd be releasing more and more content every single day, every single week, making sure that there was some momentum going. And you know what? I have fallen foul of some of the own advice that I give to so many other people, where actually be making excuses really. And I have spent so much time with my head inside of our company, working on products, working on process, working on, I guess, ways to be able to grow it, that I've really forgotten to get myself out there as much as I used to. And I've decided to come back to this show, to this podcast, to YouTube, to share with you the stuff that we're doing now that's working extremely well. Some of the work that I've done over the last year, which I'll talk to you about, but also use it as a bit of an outlet to talk about the stuff that I'm passionate about and the stuff that we're doing behind the scenes with the social selling suite and the customers that we're working with to see the success that we are. And so, for those of you that don't know, I left the UK back in May 2024 for a year. We decided to do a little bit of traveling and working at the same time. And I probably should have been recording throughout the whole of that trip, really, from Europe to America to Australia. There have been some huge lessons that I've learned. We've had some shocking moments, we've had some good ones. But the way that I want this podcast to work moving forwards, whether I do it every week, whether I do it every day, you know me, this is about momentum, and consistency has been my big problem, really. We've had ways of being able to grow our company without us doing a huge amount of organic content like we used to. But this I actually enjoy doing, and I'm going to be using this as, people call it a diary entry, people call it a little mini vlog, whatever. I'm just going to use this as a place to basically share what's going through my mind, but also I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of shows, and a lot of the stuff is quite surface level. And what I want to do on this YouTube channel, on this podcast, if you're listening to the audio, is talk to you through what we're practically doing, how we're doing it, and then the results from all the different tests and the analysis that we've found. That's what I love to do, really. It's doing a lot of research, doing a lot of testing, putting all of these tactics to work and seeing what works and what doesn't, and if it doesn't, why. And so in this first episode, what I wanted to share with you are some of the insights from the last month, actually. I'm going to do an episode on 2024 and early 2025 to how we've got to where we've got to. For those of you that don't know, we run a membership and consulting based business, and we spend lots of time helping companies from complete startups to companies the size of Mastercard and FedEx to grow utilizing both online and online marketing. So we cover everything from the creation of the business model all the way through to scaling with paid advertising, organic marketing, affiliate channel, all the different mechanisms. And we talk about them all because we've got the experience in house to be able to do so. But to be able to build the infrastructure of a company that we are looking to sell in a number of years' time, there's lots of hard work that goes behind the scenes. And this podcast is going to be a combination of our own journey, but also I know a lot of you have no desire to build a big company. So what I want to do is create the information and the knowledge that you can then go and simply apply to your businesses to help get you to, whether it's 5 grand a month, 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, wherever you want to get to. I want to give you the information on here just because we can. And so with it, there's 5 points that I've got that I want to go through on this episode. It might be slightly longer than the usual ones that I've done. I will be bringing on some guests and interviewing as well as we go through, but there's 5 things that I think are like absolutely crucial to growing sustainably in today's marketplace. And let's not beat around the bush here. If you are in a consulting based business, information, trying to help other people, service based companies, it's got harder, right? It's tougher out there right now. People, I'm not just seeing it like with our own stuff, but we like sales cycles are longer, decisions are taking longer to be made, budgets are being cut. there are so many changes going on in this world right now that are preventing people to be as free with their cash as they used to. And so we've got to adapt with that to be able to see the success that we want. And what I'm finding, speaking to 20 to 30 people a week at the moment on this stuff, is that people are still trying to do the things that they were last year expecting a similar result. And the problem is that it's no longer the same. It has changed. And therefore, what you need to do has to be different. And the first point that I've got that I want to cover on this is looking at actually what you're selling. So it doesn't matter whether you are right at the beginning or you're someone that's been doing this for a number of years. The way that we package things, the way that we frame what it is that we're selling has never been more important. The reason being, and the reason why, is because there's more competition out there before than there ever has been. So whatever it is that you're doing, I have not come across anyone so far in the last 18 months that's doing anything that unique. It's something that I've heard before. And so the way that we wrap up what it is that we're doing has become the most important thing when it comes to getting people to make buying decisions quickly and to help drive your pipeline forwards. And with that, like I'm going to give you a couple of different examples in this episode because I think it's important to add the context to this. One of the things that I used to offer out was for those of you that have followed me for a while, you'll know that Instagram was the platform that I used to specialize in. It was the thing that I used to love. It's where I built my audience. But Instagram, I used to run a 2-day course selling how to use Instagram to build your business. So it was an Instagram 2-day masterclass, right? And that was something that I used to bust my ass trying to sell, like all the time. It was one of the hardest things to try. I was persuading, I was convincing, I was trying to do anything that I possibly could to get people to buy it. And I was a good salesperson, right? I'm sounds quite arrogant to say that, but I was like I could get people to understand the concept. But the problem was I couldn't do it at a volume that was going to allow us to sustainably grow because of the length of time it took me to get someone over the line. And therefore, I had to try and make a change. Now, this was back in like 2019. And when COVID hit, which you're not meant to say on podcasts or stuff because apparently it gets killed, but neither way, I've said it now anyway. But when that hit, it made me pivot because whereas I was struggling to put 7 or 8 people in a room every month at 500 quid a ticket, generating 3.5 grand net profit of like 1,000 quid once I pay for the venue and food and travel and all that sort of thing. It just wasn't really worth it. And so you have to think about these things and the way that you're delivering and ask yourself, are you selling the outcome that people actually want? An Instagram 2-day masterclass is not an outcome, right? There's lots of people that are selling coaching that work with us. Coaching is not an outcome. And therefore, if you're selling and packaging what you're doing as coaching or consulting, you are going into such a competitive marketplace that the only way to win it is on price negotiation. So going cheap and undercutting everybody. That is not the way to grow sustainably, especially right now. What you've got to do is switch things up. And so my first example of this literally opened my eyes to this. I went from an Instagram 2-day masterclass to a 30-day how to grow your following by 1,000 followers in 30 days. So it was 1,000 followers in 30 days challenge was the way that it was positioned. I had no real credibility at the time, other than the fact that I built my Instagram following by 1,000 people for 30 days for about 18 months consistently. So I was up to about 30K. And this was when the platform was really easy to grow. So I used to just teach the basics, really. But I packaged it up. I day dripped the information. It was very, very easy to do, pre-recorded. So there was no live delivery apart from a Q&A once a week. It was one of the best things I ever did, because it meant that it was infinitely scalable and I could sell it cheap, get feedback, and then look to improve it, then make it more expensive, get feedback, then improve it, then make it more expensive. And so where these people are just plucking price points of like 2, 3, 5 grand with no credibility, I'm sitting there and I'm like, you've got to earn the right to sell at those price points. You've got to build the credibility. You've got to build the reviews, you've got to build the testimonials at the beginning to the product you're trying to sell before you can start putting it at such a high ticket, in my opinion. That's the way that I've always done it. And so I went from 60 quid to 100 quid to 300 quid to 500 quid. And then I built out an academy after that, and it grew and grew and grew. But by switching up the way that I just labeled what it was that I did, was made a huge difference. Like it was a huge impact from switching it up. So whatever it is that you're selling right now, and if you want to put like what your offer is in the comments, if you're watching on YouTube right now, I'll give you feedback on it. I'll respond to you, and I'll give you some maybe some subtle changes that you can make to be able to improve it. Just way of saying thank you for watching. That's point number one, right? So people are spending too much time selling something that your audience just don't want or don't understand. So you've got to reframe what you're doing to make it meet an outcome. You've got to make it desirable. You've got to make it something that people are like, oh my God, where has this been? Like, how do I sign up and get them chasing you for it? That's the feeling that you've got to give people. If they're not reacting in that way, you're falling short of the mark. I told you this was going to be a longer one than normal, right? However, we now move on to point number two, which is linked to point number one, where I mentioned around price points. So this is a huge thing right now, is whenever you're trying to generate revenue for your company, especially when you're under pressure. So this is the big thing. Like I understand it. When you've not seen the revenue that you need, you become desperate. Been there, got the postcard. Like it is something that I've seen like time and time again, something that I've experienced lots of times throughout my short career as well. But the moment I start focusing in on revenue and money and trying to chase as much as I can, the harder and harder it seems to get. And so I switch my thinking, and I have a conscious way of doing this now. It's very deliberate, something that I teach very, very frequently at the moment because there are lots of people in this position. You've got to switch the mindset from, rather than how can I take, you got to switch it to how can I give. So the more value I create in a market, the more money is reciprocated back. And so like we're trying to disrupt an industry with our products, right? The social selling suite. We are trying to disrupt an industry with a membership price. It's £50 a month. This is a shameless plug, right? But it's £50 a month. And we are providing information, accountability, coaching, feedback, resources, technology that other people are charging £3,000 to £5,000 for. And so we are seriously undercutting a market to disrupt it because we can. And it's a load of fun. We get to see incredible results. And also, we build something that we believe people are never going to leave, the biggest and best business community, right? This is what we're looking to do. And so to be able to do that, it is not about me going out there. I run webinars very frequently for our business. I run paid traffic to them. I run organic traffic to them. Like it is relentless in terms of our activity. But rather than focusing in on one member, two member, three member, 5, 10, 15, 200, 300, 500, moving through the revenue numbers, we instead switch my mindset to focus in on, right, how can I add that much value into the market for free? Because I've got the time, like I'm dedicating it. It's 20 to 30 minutes of recording, maybe 20 minutes of editing, practicing the communication style, getting this content out there to really showcase how much we know, what it is that we do, and the difference we're making. We put the energy into value creation. And I find lots of people right now haven't got that mindset. They're in a mindset of, how can I take as much as possible for as little as possible? And that is just not the way this world is working right now. The people that are winning are the people that are giving the most. There are loads of examples that I give you. I'm not going to name them today because I'm going to have future episodes where I'm going to be diving into certain case studies, which I'm going to be evaluating and showing you what it is that they're doing to be able to take advantage, especially right now. So if that stuff's of interest, just subscribe and you'll receive the notifications of them. If you're on our email list, in the resources section of this video are 100 content ideas you can down for free. There is a complete guide to social selling in there for free. Like they're free resources. We are shoving that many free resources out there into the market. It's one a month as a minimum right now. These videos I am ramping up because I want to show you that I'm practicing what I'm preaching. I need to shove that much value out there that we can really get in everybody's faces every single day with a message that is going to hit home that they need to hear. No matter what it is that you do, if a few of you have put your offers in the comment section, the thing that we have to focus in on is, right, what do our audience want right now? What is it that they are really desiring right now? What is it that they are struggling with right now? And then from there, we need to drive as many of those answers out there into the public forum. And people always then come to me and go, well, what, like, do I have to give everything away for free? No, not everything, but you do have to give something. It has to happen. And if you're not going to do that, unfortunately, you're just not going to cut through the sheer amount of noise that there is out there right now, where from people that are taking the business away from you because they are prepared to do what you are not willing to. I think that makes sense. If it doesn't, again, comment section, ask the questions away. Number three, and this is all kind of interlinked, right? Number three is spending time listening to the words people say. And that I know sounds so basic, but I'm going to use an example. I was speaking to a lady called Emily today, and we were talking about her business model. She is a incredible consultant. She is a proper expert at what she does. But we've been spending time working out who her demographic is that she's already earned the right to sell to, because lots of people, again, a big thing, people are trying to sell to people that they've not got the credibility yet on their level to actually sell to them. And so that's a journey. You've got to go out there and position yourself to be able to do that. And again, that'll be another episode that I do, how to position yourself for different audience sizes and different audience types. It's a different episode. But with Emily, we were working through her offer, and she works with corporate customers to help them manage agencies better. So lots of corporate customers, even startup companies, actually struggle when they employ an agency to get the best out of them. And Emily's very, very well versed in this. She's extremely credible. And she was running a couple of webinars. We've done a few of them now, and she's been able to improve her communication no end. And a lot of the time, people run these sorts of webinars, and when they don't generate sales, they get quite deflated. But generating sales is only one of the benefits of running a webinar. The reason why I run them so frequently actually is to try and gauge an idea of what people are thinking about right now, what people are struggling with right now, trying to really get an understanding of where the market is. And off the back of this webinar, Emily had a call booked in. And when we looked at the demographic of the people that attended, it wasn't corporate customers that were attending. The webinar was how to get better results from the agency that you're working with. Ironically, that attracted agencies to go, well, I wonder what she's saying, because we're probably losing customers right now. And what we're looking to do is try and improve our process so they love us more, so they stay with us more. So actually, even though the hook was really aimed at the corporate customers, it attracted the agencies. It attracted also some of the sole trader freelancers to her webinar. And I'm like, that's an interesting one. The opposite of the demo occurred because of the hook. And this is really interesting. We would never have figured that out unless we'd have ran that sort of workshop. And the call that she got booked in was with a startup founder, not a corporate company, with a startup founder. And the startup founder actually, like, the words that were used when Emily was having the initial conversation, it was around utilizing marketing budget more effectively. And I know this probably isn't relevant to you right now, but this is the power of listening to the words that people say. Emily was about how you can manage agencies more effectively. Actually, what the people wanted was, and this is really obvious now, we know, but they want to know how to utilize their marketing budget more effectively. And agencies are just part of that. And so the offer then can be linked and be created and adapted to be focused in on how to utilize marketing budgets better. That is the outcome. That is what people are focusing in on. That is where the desire is. That is where the pain is. And the only way that you get there is by speaking to people, having these conversations, and then actually applying the words that they're saying in your marketing and in your sales processes. The moment you start doing that is the moment suddenly you're going to get so many more people responding to you. I only notice this with my direct messaging. I send about 50 to 100 direct messages on my account every single day to existing connections and new connections, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, wherever I can. I am out there, and I'm literally utilizing the language that I have been told, hitting a demographic that looked like that audience. And therefore, the responses that I'm getting, it's around about a 10% response rate. So for every 1,000 messages that I'm sending, I'm getting 100 responses through. It is overwhelming to deal with that amount of traffic, right? That is not something that is scalable, but it is something that we are testing. But what we are doing is seeing whether there is a reaction to the language. And if you're not seeing those responses, if you're not seeing those reactions, then your language that you're using is not resonating like hard enough. Like you've got to adapt it. And this is a big thing that we've got to do here. We've got to focus in on that. That's number three, spending time listening to the words people say and then really make sure that you adapt them so it utilizes those words. We then move into number four, right? So number four is around the certain content types which you are spending your time creating on. This is something which has been a big bugbear of mine for all that we work with over 200 different businesses now. And one of the things I'm always talking to them about is the stuff that we focus in on ourselves. A platform like LinkedIn, let's take that as an example. People spend 20 to 30 minutes trying to think of a piece of content that they can create. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That is a tick box exercise that you should 100% be out there doing if LinkedIn is a platform for you. But the problem is that on a scroll stopping platform like LinkedIn, after 72 hours of your post going live, typically it will never be seen again. And so that 20 to 30 minutes like has had an impact. But if it is 200, 300 people, like 72 hours and that 20 to 30 minutes is gone, right? And so like it's not that that stuff shouldn't be done, but instead what I want you to think about is how can you create content which is going to be watched, looked at, and seen forever? And this is a big thing, which sounds, again, so simple in concept. But you think of YouTube, right? I have YouTube videos on this channel. If you're watching on YouTube right now, I have over 100 videos on here, probably 300 hours of content, like if you total it all up. I have videos from a year ago that people are still watching. I can guarantee you, though, on LinkedIn, nobody is scrolling back a year ago and looking at the content that I created there. YouTube, however, is something where I'm getting hours and hours and hours of watch time through videos that I created ages ago. And this is one of the big reasons why I brought this back, because actually I have neglected that for quite a while. And I've been being very, very complacent with my creative and my focus points. So now I'm back. I'm going to be start creating a lot more often. I'm going to be making sure that I'm talking about the stuff that I love to talk about. So it's enjoyable. I'm going to be creating stuff that I know people need the answers to, questions that people need the answers to, because the more and more that I do that, the more assets I'm going to be creating for this channel, and therefore the more dwell time and touch points that I can build in the future with potential future customers. That is the way that things work. That is the way that business works. So you've got to feed and create assets that work on your behalf. And LinkedIn content, if it is the only thing that you're doing, I potentially would just pause for a second and have a think about maybe there is a different type of content that you can create, more of like that working smarter mentality that is going to work for you over a longer period of time. Therefore, you get that content compounding effect that everybody wants, but lots of people don't do. I know video is not for everyone, right? It's not. I never used to enjoy it. Now I don't mind talking to a camera like this, but lots of people do struggle with it. But I can promise you, everybody starts terrible, and then you just get better and better and better and better and better as you go. Like that is the real focus point. Like video is one of the main ways, if not the only real thing that works when you're selling to a stranger. If there's no video there, you're going to struggle to get the dwell time to get somebody to trust you enough to want to buy from you. That is just my opinion from the years that I've been doing this. Without the video content, I would not be in any way near the position that I am right now. We then move into number 5. And this is about metrics, which are not the most exciting thing. But depending on your stage, depending on where you are, your phase, the phase that you're in business, there are certain metrics that are important and there are certain metrics that are not, that you need to really start paying attention to. So again, with it all comes down to the process that you're building. I think people focus too much time at the front end of the process with any of their analytics. So they're looking at followers, they're looking at impressions, they're looking at number of messages sent. And actually what you want to do is focus in at the end. So it's like, okay, well, if we need 5 sales a month, right? 5 sales a month, I need to speak to 10%, like maybe 10 businesses, 50% close rate, 10 businesses per month to sign 5. So to get 10 business calls, appointments booked in, I need to look at mechanisms to book in 10 appointments. And so I look at that and I go, right, maybe a webinar is a way that I've done it for so often, right? Webinars are the thing that I specialize in. And so I'm looking at a webinar and go, how can I get 10 appointments booked? And to get 10 appointments booked, I need 100 people registered on a webinar, right? 100 people registered gives me 50 people that show up, 50% show up rate. And then from that 50 that show up, 20% will book a call, gives me the 10 call bookings. So like they are the numbers that I'm focusing in on. And really, the 100 registrations for the Zoom that I'm looking at, I'm then looking at my traffic resources. I'm looking at my email list. I'm looking at my direct messaging. I'm looking at my lead magnet downloads, and I'm looking at those things and going, right, are they going to give me 100 registrations every month without fail? If they're not, I need to change something. And this is the level of thinking. Stop focusing your attention at the front end, focusing it at the back end, and then working your way backwards. I know sounds simple, but I've spoken to already, we're on Wednesday at the time of recording this. I've spoken to 15 businesses so far this week. I would say 90% of them are focusing, why is LinkedIn not working for me? Impressions, analytics, numbers, followers. And I'm like, well, what do you actually need? Because to be able to get that working, you need to understand how you're going to get this to work in the first place. Otherwise, none of it works. And so we reverse engineer, and then we understand that, you know what? Posting every day on LinkedIn is not going to give you that. If you're not getting that now, posting on LinkedIn every day, you need to spend that time doing something else. And this is what I spend so much time talking to people with. And like with it, I will put a link in the description below. Like I am offering my time at the moment. I'm offering 2 to 3 hours a week where I will talk to any business for free, and I will literally just help you. Right? I can't give more than that, but 2 to 3 hours gives like half an hour a call, 5 or 6 calls a week. I'm giving slots to be able to help you. So there's a link in the description. If you do need help, if this is an emergency and you're needing some support, click that link, book that call in, answer the questions, let me know where you're at. And at the end, if you would like to know how we can work together, I will talk you through it happily. But that is not the purpose of the call, just so you're aware. That is for me to give you some advice. So the link is there for you to be able to do it. They are the 5 points. Number 1, spending too much time selling something your audience don't want. Number 2, put in the yards to gather how you can add true value. Number 3, spend time listening to the words people say and pay closer attention to it. Number 4, stop relying on scroll stopping platform content like LinkedIn if it is the only content you're creating. Instead, switch it to content that's going to compound over time. And then number 5, understand the metrics that actually make a difference and start focusing on them first. That, I think, is a pretty decent first episode back. Now, I would love feedback in the comment section, wherever you possibly can leave it. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple right now, then obviously there's no place to leave comments. But if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube right now and you can see me, like in that comment section, let me know, what questions do you have? What are you struggling with? If you need like more support, let me know. There is a free training always. Whenever you're watching this video, there will be a webinar that I am running at some point. So there is a link in the description that will give you 100 content ideas. There is a link in the description that will give you the complete guide to social selling. All of these for free. You'll also get a free client acquisition workshop. Again, the date will be the next date that's available. And then there's that free call booking. Unfortunately, if the slots are taken, they are taken. I can't do anything about it purely because I only allocate X amount of time to be able to do it. But there are a minimum of 5 calls a week that I will always give in my diary to help you. Thank you so much for listening. I hate always asking this, but if you could like the video, you don't even need to subscribe. If you want to, great. But if you could just like the video just to let me know that someone's watching this, I'll be extremely, extremely grateful. Any feedback for me in the comment section. I'll see you all the next one.